Hi, and welcome to STL TV. I'm Jade Harrell. You know, every now and then you run into a person who is so multi-talented. I mean, they can do almost anything, a jack of all trades and a master of all of them. Well, in this case, I have met another incredible person who has mastered service, community, education, love, triumph, resilience, and all of those things in one teeny tiny little delightful package. I joke, but I am joined by the mighty Willie Mae Anthony. Thank you for joining us.
Well, hello, and thank you for inviting me. This is so exciting.
Well, that was easy. There's so many things to celebrate and to enjoy about you. Our 5th Ward Berkeley Councilwoman,
Fourth Ward.
4th Ward.
Yes.
I said 4th, and I was thinking you're on your next book.
Yes.
So you are an author, a councilwoman, former teacher, grandmother of how many?
12.
Good Lord Almighty.
And a great-grandmother of 3.
Wow. So many impressive things to share, but we are here to talk about your latest endeavor, the book, The Duck That Was Afraid to Swim.
Yes.
So first of all, ducks naturally swim. Tell me what inspired you to write this book.
Well, you know, I know sometimes we all have some issues that we're afraid to do, although we know we can do it. Okay. And I know that kids can relate to animals. And when you start talking about, you know, animals and kids, then, okay, you got somebody's attention, because then you won't be bringing in, he don't look like me, he ain't the same color, but just forget about that. And we're going to talk about the duck.
The duck.
Yes.
And so what about this duck is special that caused you to create a book, a message, an embodiment of him?
Well, first of all, you got to understand, Kevin had 3 brothers.
Okay.
All of their names started with a certain letter, and I guess Mama just couldn't find one for him, so she named him Kevin. So that was one little issue he had to get over. But then he was afraid to swim, and he would take the long way around the pond while everybody else would swim across. And so he had to try to get over that fear. And not giving too much of it away, he conquered that fear, because being afraid also caused him to be bullied. And that's another issue that is embodied in that little book, was how he got over being bullied.
Right, right.
And so many of our children are dealing with that issue right now.
So. I love that you brought in the idea that sometimes your fear creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. Where did this story come from? Does it relate to anyone you know?
You know, sometimes we write about ourselves. And so I'm thinking...
thinking it's not just for kids, huh?
I always tell people...
Could that duck be me?
You have to read to find out. Oh. Certain adults have read the book and said, oh, that's me. Kevin is me. Indeed. So sometimes, you know, God deals with us first. So I start writing. And actually, my publisher challenged me. He said, Sister Willie Mae, I want to bless you. And I know there's another book inside of you. And I'm like, I ain't got time to write a book. But I sit down, and this is the God-heaven truth. I wrote this book in about 2 hours.
Are you kidding?
Things that start coming, and things that have been blocking me, my fears. And I said, okay, we can work with this. We can work with this. And I sent it to him. This was in 2023.
Wow.
2024, he sent me a contract, and he said, this is it.
Oh my
This is
goodness.
it, Sister Willie Mae. I told you you had it.
Yeah.
So see.
So what did you have to tap into? What was that experience like, drawing forth something more and maybe even deeper and personal in order to manifest the idea?
Wow. It causes you to look at yourself and see what is really holding you up, what is really keeping you, not anybody else. We're talking about Willie Mae right now. What is keeping you from doing it, doing what God has called you to do? And I'm like, wow. Yeah.
That's interesting, because it feels like you've stepped up to the call many times. You've been, you've worked with children and the youngest. You've been one of the favorite administrators at the school. You work in public service. You serve your family. You serve your church. Like, What are you still called to or even afraid of, Miss Willie Mae?
Still, sometimes when people tell you, I ask you to do something, like, kind of like, I don't know. And then I wake up, I say, I got it.
Sure.
I got it.
Now that you've done it, what's it like on the other side?
Wow.
Fear was there first.
Yes.
You passed through the layer.
I swam past.
For those of us that are still shaking at the side of the pond.
I'd say try it, and I mean, you never know until you do it. You do not want to leave here not knowing that you could have done it. And that's what I want to do now. I want to take on my challenges. At least I'll know. I don't want to die not knowing. So it has been fun just reading it and rereading it, like, wow.
Yeah. It probably brings new meaning each read, I would imagine.
Yes.
Very revealing. This isn't your first, but you've written other children's books. Is there a reason why you focus on children?
Because I don't want those little people to grow up being hurting adults that tend to hurt other adults. And then it's to give them an opportunity to know somebody hears me. See, that's important. When you have children my first book is Penny Penguin's Secret, and it deals with abuse. We need to know. That person needs to know, I hear you, baby, and I believe you. So with Kevin, all of us have a little fear. So I want those little people to conquer that fear before they get older.
Yeah. So they don't carry it with them.
Yes.
Or at least they carry forward a healed child.
Yes.
And in your experience, you know the benefit of that and also the cost if it's not present. Speaking of costs, you have paid some pretty heavy sacrifices, but yet still share joy. There's a tribute in this book to one of your children, Kevin.
Yes, Kevin died.
Can you talk about that triumph?
Sure. Kevin died 24 years ago. In fact, last month marked 24 years. It was because him and his friend was playing this game called Chicken. Our kids know all about jumping in front of a car and hoping it would stop. Well, him and his friend was playing this particular day, and his friend hit him, knocked him several feet in the air, came back down on the ground. I did not lose my faith at that time. I knew that God had something that he wanted to come out of all of that pain. Because believe me, it's pain. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to put it, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But yet God brought something out of it. And I say that because 7 people, we were organ donors, and 7 people had another chance at life. I used to be a part of Midwest transplant. So a grandfather wrote a letter, and he said so many times, because they carry like a little alarm when there's a match, and he said so many times he had gotten that beeper sound to come and get that particular organ, and he said he almost not went that time. But he said he wanted to thank us because he got a chance to hold his grandchildren in his lap.
Wow. Through that pain and loss, life came, and a message of hope and courage and victory will resonate forward with Kevin as the main character.
Yes. And I also have a grandson named Kevin.
Perfect. Well, for all of the Kevins and those that love them, whether they're fearless or fear-filled, this is a perfect book to encourage you and your loved one to step out on the water in faith. What a wonderful contribution to our consciousness. Willie Mae Anthony, the duck that was afraid to swim. You can find out more and purchase the book by sending an email to forwardbooks@gmail.com. And you can find Willie Mae on Facebook at Willie Mae Anthony. Forward Books makes this book possible and many other great ones, so check out their lineup. And a shout out to the illustrator, Iman Fatima, the duck that was afraid to swim.
Yes.
Right?
You can also get it at Amazon.com.
And you can get it at Amazon.com. Thank you for joining us,
You're
Willie
welcome.
Mae.
Thank you.
And for those of you at home, see what you can get between those webbed feet of yours and check out that book. And for all things St. Louis, and if you want to tune in to some of our other episodes and get more information, you could find us on the socials or just go to our website, stltv.net. For STL TV and our crew, I'm Jade Harrell, Experience St. Louis.